that right before we start, and then when I cut to our intro music.
All right. Enough diddling around. Hi. Welcome to the Fears for Queers podcast. #1 midnight jazz radio podcast.
All of this is absolutely true.
Is that what we want to do?
If we want to talk about why we're here, what we're doing.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Allison.
And I'm Andy.
And we are here to give you some spooky tales.
Lots of them.
Lots and lots of spooky tales.
Just weird
I
stuff.
personally have an interest in morbid things just because my life has been a little bit morbid. But you know what? I like to hear about spooky stuff and ponder my own mortality.
Yeah.
Because it makes me appreciate the better things in life.
I definitely agree. I mean, I've always been attracted to the more macabre or just weird sort of things. I'm in it for the mystery of it. I loved trying to figure out why these weird things happened, and whenever I would listen to these stories, I would always focus on like it from the detective's point of view or from the person who's figuring it out, because it's like a puzzle to me, kind of, in a way. So that was definitely my interest. And yeah, we were just like, we both like this. Why not just talk about it and send it out to people?
It's definitely an oversaturated market.
Fair.
Who cares?
Why not?
Because who cares? Everyone's doing it. We can do it too.
Literally, I mean, literally, why not? There's no reason not to. We're stuck at home. We're best friends. We might as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, it only took us like a year ago. We were like, let's do a podcast, and then we just sat on our asses.
We were just like, oh yeah, life happened, and then Corona happened, and then we were like, well, we'll get to it eventually, and eventually's here, and here we are.
Yeah, but do you have a certain tale you want to share with us today?
I do. So, just to start us off with this, a small little urban legend, a little fact about Allison and I.
Little teeny tiny.
little bitty fact. So we're from
small.
Infinitesimally tiny. We're both from Central Texas. And so this legend, when we went to school to Boerne, we still could hear this because it was from San Antonio, which is the big town right outside of the little town. And it was a kind of a haunting sort of a story about a certain set of railroad tracks. And basically, the legend, as I had heard it as a kid, was that this bus stalled out over the tracks and the driver could not move the bus, and so it was hit by the train and they all died. And the legend was that if you drove your car up to those railroad tracks and just put your car in neutral and just waited, you would go over the tracks. And the legend is that the ghost kids are there, pushing you. So when people were trying to test this legend, they would people were like, let's put baby powder on the back of the car just to see the handprints, see if there were any handprints pushing. And so they found them. And of course, a lot of people debunking it are like, well, there's oil all over your hands. People touch their trunks and the backs of their car all the time. So then we had some people do it without touching it, like wash their car and then do the baby powder stuff. And from what I researched, it still happened. There's a lot of people that look into this specific incident, and I found it really interesting that the more I dug up, there is a connection to a murder sort of thing that happened like 40 years ago, but in a different state. And it's nearly like an identical case. And it's weird because the San Antonio records never found like an actual incident of a bus wreck like in Utah they did. That was the state. But it's the same story. And so that's also just weird to me. Like, if it was fake, why would a same story like come down here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I feel like that would happen in Utah.
They're like, there's nothing to do here. Might as well. But it always intrigued me that even if there was no actual incident, just the cultural phenomenon of like adopting a story from another state and making it your own urban legend. I don't know if that's happened before, but just as
So
somebody who
who
lived in
copied
San
who?
Antonio, well, apparently we copied Utah, but it was in
No
1948, so
freaking way. I refuse to believe that.
I know. Like a true Texan, we're just gonna say no. It was us. We did it. We're the best. Peace out. But
We're
yeah,
bigger.
that was it. We are absolutely bigger, and our ghosts are better. And
All
so
of our
yeah,
ghosts have little cowboy hats.
no, they have big cowboy hats. They got
Big
10
cowboy
gallons.
hat,
Just
10 gallons, and they got the biggest guns you've ever seen in your gosh dang life.
they just walk around like this all day because this is how tall the guns are in their pocket. There's just all the shotguns in their pocket.
Okay, but I think our podcast is already haunted because your screen, like dead ass, looks like ectoplasm again.
That is so wild. It's totally normal on my end. It's the ghosts, they know.
Yeah, this apartment is honestly creepy as hell.
Really?
Every time Riley goes to work, I'm like, ugh. So
Like I don't like
maybe
this. Dang, man.
no,
Get some sage. Go. Say be gone,
but
thoughts.
ghost thoughts,
Guts.
ghost thoughts, ghost gots.
Insert dance break here.
But oh, there you are. You're back. Thank
Oh, my back to normal.
God. Yeah, but that was a that was an enthralling story. The most enthralling part to me was definitely that we totally ripped off Utah. So, anyways, anyways, I guess I will go ahead and lead into my story of
Hell
the
yeah.
Bone Breaker, aka Joe Clark from Baraboo, Wisconsin. Baraboo, Wisconsin is actually the town where the Barnum and Bailey Circus was founded, by
Wow.
the way. Yeah.
That's such a weird
So,
place. I didn't know the circus would start in Wisconsin.
so you know that town sucks.
Yeah, literally. That's the best they can come up with.
Oh my lord. It's also known as the Baraboo, Wisconsin is known as the Gem City. And when I first heard that, I wasn't sure if it was GEM or
I
JIM.
know. I was like, is everybody working out? There's just a gym on every corner.
J GYM. Everybody's fit as fuck.
Fit as.
All right, but since this is our first time doing a podcast episode ever, I've decided I'm going to read mine as a story. So
Heck yeah.
interject as you will
Oh, I will.
and sit back and have a good time. Oh, I will. Hold on, let me moisten my gullets. All right. So, July 1995, Baraboo, Wisconsin. 12-year-old Thad Phillips falls asleep soundly while watching TV on the couch with his little sister after a big family dinner. Several hours later, he groggily opens his eyes as he's being carried through the house. He assumes it's a family friend needing help with their car. Thad asks the man where his car is, and he says it's straight up over the hill. Half a mile later, he is taken into an unfamiliar house.
Wait.
Trash is,
So
yeah,
he says it's straight up the hill, and then they have to walk like half a mile.
yeah.
That's a
No,
long
like,
ass
what
walk.
a freaking nut job.
That's crazy. Like to just think that you can get away with luring someone away for half a mile. You know what I mean? That takes some kind of
Yeah,
like
but
arrogance, I think.
it's like of course his victim is, which we'll get into this later, but of course his victim is little kids, you know what I mean? They're so
Right.
trusting.
Absolutely. It and that's the thing like with the whole buddy system or whatever, that did nothing to stop like child crimes because it would just be you would just if you see a kid with another kid, you automatically assume they're fine. But a situation like this, it's not fine. But on the outside, it just appears
Mhm.
like a kid and his friend.
Yeah, definitely. But it was so late at night in this tiny little town, too. It's sad there probably wasn't anybody to see it go down.
Yeah, definitely.
But badass. Oh, yeah, we already read that. All right. Trash is strewn all around, and he was surrounded by filth. At that moment, he realizes this is definitely not a family friend. It's 17-year-old Joe Clark, also from Baraboo, Wisconsin. When asked where they are, Joe replies, "Some of your friends should be coming soon," and proceeds to name off a list of fellow students from Thad's school.
Oh my god, that's
He's,
so manipulative. That's so messed up.
yeah, so he says, "We're going to be having a little party." So essentially, what he's been doing at this point is he's been stalking
Yeah, definitely.
like all these little boys.
Just to keep like a catalog. That's the part where like what if I'm looking at it from like how the detective would figure that out. This kid has like his own ring. It's like he's having a farm for these kids. He's getting them all in like a list. He can pick off any single one. It's crazy how much he's thinking this
Oh,
through. You know?
yeah, you're about to see.
Oh
Um,
no.
and then he proceeds to take the boy upstairs to show off his model car and truck collection. And suddenly, Joe snapped. He shoved Phillips onto his back, grabbed his right ankle, and twisted it backwards until it snapped.
Dang.
They sat in silence as the older boy put his hands on his head and looked at the floor. At that moment, Thad made his first run for it. Broken ankle in tow, he beelines towards the stairs. Pure adrenaline and fear pushed him forward as the ankle bone slipped past the foot bone.
Oh my god. Oh,
Ugh.
that's so hard to just listen
Imagine,
to.
oh God, bolting down the stairs, living room, and then kitchen. Only then was he caught. Joe put him in a chokehold and shoved the young boy back onto the living room couch. Grabbing his right leg, he raised it up above his head so high that his thigh bone broke.
God.
And after that, Joe reverted into his normal self and started talking to Thad as if they were friends.
Oh wow, that's just like a misery kind of thing, you know, where she's like, have you know that Stephen King story, Misery?
I don't think I read that one.
It's so she this woman is obsessed with an author, and he like crashes outside her house, so she brings him in to take care of him, but he is like writing one of her characters dead, so she breaks his legs so he can't leave, and then she just keeps taking care of him like nothing happened, but he keeps saying, "I'm not gonna
Ew.
change the story." So it literally is sounding just like that. That's wild.
What?
Yeah, the
um.
movie's great.
Well, I guess I'll watch that.
Yeah.
um. Introducing himself and sharing intimate details about himself and his own family. Begrudgingly, Dad would entertain the conversations. Anything to put time in between the brutal assaults. "Why are you doing this to me?" he asked. And Joe began to tell him about his fascination with broken bones. "Why don't you ever do it to yourself?" "I've tried, but I could never get the angles right."
Oh
Ugh.
God. The fact that he
Have you ever
considered
done
that,
this?
you know,
Yeah. Yeah, he tried.
he's like, I tried it. It didn't work. And that just made sense to him. He's like, "Oh, so I should just try it on somebody else instead of just giving up on the idea."
Yup.
That is oh my God.
Um, and then Thad asked, "Have you ever done this to anybody else?" And he said, "Yes."
I'm not surprised.
Shortly after their conversation, Thad worked up the courage to ask if he could call his parents. Joe said he would allow it, but as if pulling a sick joke, handed him a disconnected phone. Thad pleaded, "I won't tell anyone. I'll say that I tripped into a coffee table." "No, no one would ever believe you." They spent half of a day together watching TV until Joe decided that it was time for more damage to be done. Placing Thad on the bed, this time he proceeded to twist his left ankle, twisting and twisting until it broke like a rubber band. At this point, Thad's feet were sideways. Despite his horrific injuries, the young boy would try to fight back, clocking him on the head, pushing him, but it would only enrage Joe further. Placing a pillow over Thad's face, he told him not to yell, not to fight back, or he would break his neck and back next. And Thad had no reason not to believe him.
Definitely,
He did
especially
not
after
cry
all of
out.
that.
Yeah. I mean, of course you're gonna believe this
Psychopath.
nutcase. Literally, if he's capable of all these horrific things, ugh.
And like
He
definitely
did.
because he had said he'd done it before, you know? This level of planning and like my mind, I don't know if I'm just a boomer now, but I'm like, where is this kid's parents? Like the 17-year-old. Like what is
He,
happening?
well, obviously, I'm assuming he came from a pretty broken home if they're just leaving him there all by himself.
Yeah, in like a trashy place, you know?
Mm-hmm.
God,
Everything was soiled, according to reports.
it's
But
nasty, man.
but Thad had no reason not to believe him. He did not cry out. He didn't want his captor to know just how scared he was. He put leg braces on Thad and tried to force him to walk. He guided him towards the top of the stairs and shoved. Thad landed on his back. The pain was immense. At this point, his right ankle was the size of a softball, and his right thigh was the size of a black and blue basketball.
God damn.
Right? Clark left the house. Thad threw himself down the stairs headfirst in a desperate attempt to crawl towards the kitchen, where the house phone sat. He was in so much pain that he kept passing out over and over. And Clark came home to find Thad in the living room. And back upstairs, poor Thad went. In a fist of fury, Clark repeatedly jumped on him and continued twisting his already broken ankles backwards.
God.
And once his rage subsided, Clark dressed Thaddeus's feet in layers of pristinely white socks. There were hundreds of pairs to choose from.
So he was trying to take care of him then. Like the misery thing. Oh, that's so freaky to me.
Yeah, and he had
Mm.
no, literally hundreds of pairs to choose from. Like he was planning this. Like this
Yeah,
was not going to be his last victim.
definitely not. Not to have like a set of like essentially what he would be considering medical supplies just on handy, you know. Can't figure out what to do with it,
Ugh.
just wrap a sock around it.
Once again, Thaddeus was taken downstairs to watch movies, and all he could think about was how badly he wanted to be with his family. The only thing that kept him going. On Sunday morning, Thad awoke once more to see that his legs didn't even look human anymore. They were yellow, purple, black, blue, and misshapen. The pain was excruciating. As Clark jumped on him over and over and broke his left knee completely around, leaving his legs a mangled mess, unable to be walked on, one thought kept him going. It was his brother's birthday. So imagine just going through hell, and then the only thought being in this kid's brain is, oh, it's my brother's birthday. I really want to be home with him.
No, that's amazing, man. This kid is just amazing for having that selfless sort of mind. Like obviously, no one would be surprised if all you cared about was yourself trying to get out of this, but he's even a step above that. It's totally the
Yeah,
motivation of getting back to his brother, and that's just amazing that it got him through this.
the familial love is real. Joe left once again. Not wanting to take any more chances, he threw Thaddeus into his upstairs closet, got into his truck, and left. With all the remaining strength he could muster, Thad beat the door open with an old wooden guitar that happened to be in the closet, too, hurled himself down the stairs, himself through the living room, into the kitchen, and grabbed the corded phone. Luckily enough, the phone's buttons were on the handset. He then dialed 911, and the police immediately knew where he was because Joe had a previous criminal record.
Of course he did.
Thaddeus, of course he did.
Like
Thaddeus
literally.
was Thaddeus was then placed onto a stretcher and taken to the hospital. After the doctor examined him and cared for his wounds, he was made aware that he was only 2 hours away from death due to internal bleeding.
Dang, I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking about like, cause it sounded like his legs and stuff were getting like gangrene or something. You know, I didn't even think about all the
He
inside stuff.
just the timing, the fact he was able to get to that phone without passing out again,
Yeah,
the sheer willpower.
that's crazy, man.
Oh, goodness. Joseph Clark was arrested later that night at a party. The only words out of his mouth were, "Oh, he's alive?"
Oh my god.
Yeah, upon inspecting his room, police found a list of potential victims. The names were divided into several varying categories of can wait, move on, get to now. Even a list of children written under the crudely named title of the leg thing.
The leg thing. So that's what he did to that then, right? The leg thing.
Yeah, yeah, he
That's
had them
so
written under that list.
that is so
Ugh.
nasty to just
But
have it like in different categories.
Joseph Clark was charged with 8 separate crimes and sent to prison with a 100-year sentence.
Thank God, man.
Dad told the police that Joe had admitted to the murder of 14-year-old Chris Steiner, whose death had been ruled a drowning. But
Drowning.
once the forensic pathologist exhumed his body and took a close look, there were indeed breaks in his legs almost identical to what Thaddeus had endured.
So that's how he drowned because he couldn't swim. He can't kick or anything. I see.
Yeah, but that concludes the story of Joe Clark.
I
Thank God.
I know. Like I this is one of those where it's there's a bittersweetness to it because the victim was alive, the one of them at least, and the one who was able to tell the story and catch him. That is just amazing to me that the kid was able to endure that much pain. I mean, I've broken my ankles on accident. To have somebody break it on purpose is like a whole new level of pain.
But I mean, I just think that story is really inspiring. Like, it's really unfortunate that Chris Steiner didn't make it, but it's just the sheer like willpower that drove Thad to get his ass canned and save all of these other potential victims is just amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing is that he didn't even stop at just saving himself, He uncovered that it was connected to other people and he was just a little kid. He didn't have to do that. He doesn't have the wherewithal to know that that's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? In like a bigger context. If you're thinking like a 13-year-old, these are such like mature decisions to be making and mature things to keep in consideration and for a child to go through something like that traumatic and still be able to think like that is just incredible. So that was it, guys. This was our first episode. We know it's not that long, but we're still just getting the hang of stuff. We've got a lot of other stories coming. We've got a lot of cool, spooky things happening. You've seen our amazing social media pages led by my amazing partner over here, Allison. If you have any,
On my screen, I'm over here.
oh,
Like,
I'm pointing to nothing.
yeah, it's switched. Yeah.
That's so funny. Over there and over here. Um, You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. We'll be getting a YouTube and I think a Twitter set up soon. If you have any suggestions for future episodes or there's a specific topic you want us to cover, I mean, we're not just limited to any serial killers or just urban legends. We want to get into weird stuff. We want to get into mystery stuff. We want to get into all things spooky. So if you have any ideas, just let us know.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank y'all so much for listening. Please share with your family and your friends, and
And your
hopefully we can get
grandma.
this thing going. And your grandma.
Show her all these mystery shows.
Grrr. Maybe your grandma has a few stories we could read on here.
I wouldn't be surprised if my grandma was
But
into murder. You've met my grandma.
but thank y'all very much, and stay spooky.
Stay spooky, guys. We'll see y'all next time.
But once they step outside, I already up.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right,
You got
one more
it.
take.
You got it.
All right. 12-year-old fat 12-year-old fat Phillips. Oh my god.
12-year-old fat kid walking down the street.
Me.
Shut up.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to play that right before we start, and then I'm going to cut to our intro music. That'd be so funny. That was great. You just big ass cup of wine. Yes.
Hi. Welcome to the Fears for Fear.
Enter spooky transition to the theme music.
Wub, 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 wub.
Well, that was it, brother. Do you want me to? I'll stop recording.